probably some other guys from the league that nobody cares about.
Dirt podcast for the Rochester Floor Hockey League. You are listening to the playoffs. Don't talk about playoffs.
Playoffs.
Round 1 recap edition. You've got the Bob Hartman, sitting here next. Always. I think Jeremy waits until we're recording to open a can of soda. So Jared Bonet is here. He's leapfrogging in the order over Pitar. We've got the silent assassin, Brett Siebert. Say hi, Brett. We've got Kevin Parker. Kevin Parker is also guesting for us tonight, and we have the Hot Conco, or hashtag Conco Subs.
Gianni sucks.
I do like the Hot Conco name more than hashtag Conco Subs.
It's really not bad. I mean, it's starting to catch on just because it sounds so dirty. I love
Rolls
it.
off the tongue quite well.
I bet it does. Check, please. Check.
Oh, man. Well, I think that's got to be a new record. Less than a minute in, and we're already making me blush. We have our silent statistician who will probably send us some stats during which will make us laugh. So, as you heard, our two guests, Brett, much anticipated having Brett and Kevin here, both on the podcast. Another Sugar Hill game. I think this is the first time we've had one of your teammates, Jeremy, isn't it?
Physically.
What? I don't know what that means. So first time we had a Sugar Hill gang guy here other than Jeremy, and we had a bunch of people on a try, haven't we? We had Furlano,
Kurt.
Well, yeah, that's right, Kurt. Okay. So anyway, so we're gonna do the playoffs round 1 recap. Fun night of playoffs. Any overall thoughts?
It was beautiful.
Beautiful is another word you use quite a bit, Pete.
I know. There's so many words that I use. I don't have a very good vocabulary because I don't know how to read.
You can't read good?
So no, I can't read
You
good.
need to go to the, what was it, the Zoolander Institute for Reading or something?
Children.
can't read it.
Yeah.
Other stuff can do it.
Pants. At least 3 times the size.
Rule about making references that you don't know.
Well, yeah, I'll give you a penalty, man.
It was a great game though. Great setup of games. I mean, 2 goals, 1 goal, 1 goal. Back and forth battle between the number 1 and number 2 guy in this league. I had a great night reffing the games. Just a great night.
So, I mean, for those of you who don't know, or might be new to the league or have amnesia, we don't keep stats for the playoffs. So, I don't know if anyone even has the final scores for these games, because I didn't write. Okay, good. Pete at least wrote those down. So we're going to go through the games, but it's going to be a little bit different from a normal podcast because we're not going to go through the stats because we don't know what they were. So we'll start with the 7 o'clock game, A Tribe Called Quest, besting Sugar Hill Gang. What was the final score in that game?
Final score was 11-9. No Dave King for Sugar Hill Gang, and then no Pat for ATCQ. Where has Pat been? Is Pat going to make it back?
He's supposed to be back next week.
All right.
Didn't he have some bad tacos?
Yeah, some bad
Taco
tacos.
Tuesday.
You know, taking night to rest for the next week. So,
Yeah, it was. This was a matchup that Jeremy and Sugar Hill Gang was really looking for. I think since week 1. Pretty much.
They actually wanted this game?
Yeah.
I wish I knew that. I don't think I had heard anything about how they wanted this matchup.
No. So Jeremy and I, we have a silent message board. Silent message board. That
We use pigeons.
So it was going back and forth, and I'm so impressed by how Sugar Hill Gang turned around their season coming into this because ATCQ. I just felt it was going to dominate the game. I thought it was going to be close, but ultimately I thought ATCQ was going to blow this out. But even from the get-go, you guys were playing right in line with them throughout the entire process. Ultimately you fell short at the end. I think Dave King would have been a huge help to you guys. But, I mean, Jeremy, what's your thoughts on the game being the fact that you wanted this matchup and it didn't turn out in your favor?
I mean, in the preview, basically, it wasn't just me. I'm not going to say that only me from my team wanted the game. I feel like all of my teammates wanted the game. I was just...
Gianni wouldn't stop talking.
I was just the most
Too
vocal.
bad he sucked.
We don't know the stats. So.
Yeah. But it's tough to talk about the game because of how close it was, and again, really wanting it and knowing that
You had a chance.
Exactly. It's one of those things like you rather sometimes you'd rather be blown out than having a close game like that because it's tough after that game because all you're thinking about afterwards is the what ifs and why didn't we do this or why did this happen this way. And as much as Dave King would have been a big difference maker for us, Pat Kuznow for them had 5 goals the last time they played us. So you can't really discount us because of missing Dave. The better team that night won. They played better than us. We didn't play bad. It was probably our best game that we played all season. But
talk about Steve. This guy has been a complete 180 since the start of the year. He drops on pucks now, I think, better than anyone, and it is a hammer. It's like the Rock, just elbow drop.
It's more of a pounce than a drop.
True.
Steve the Cat Schultz.
I was driving in from out of town, so I didn't get to see a lot of the game. But when I got there, it was right at the end of the first period, and I had to go downstairs and change. And it was 2-2 after the first. And then, easy to make the joke here, but I'm really not saying it to be funny. You guys lost the second, and then won the third. I don't have the numbers in front of me, but I remember you had a bigger deficit at the end of the second, maybe a 3 or 4 goal deficit at the end of the second, and you only lost by 2.
Yeah.
That was your formula all season long, but you guys were in it, and I thought you had it. I really did. I picked you guys not just because of sour grapes, but I thought that A Tribe Called Quest was going to kind of overlook you guys a little bit, and you guys wanted it so bad, and you played like you wanted it. But it was just, it's the 8 versus the 1. It's only happened a couple of times, but it has happened.
Yeah.
I was on one of the 8 seeds where it happened, but there's an 8 and a 1 for a
The
reason.
toughest thing is there's teams that are built to be able to compete while they're down a guy, and we're not one of those teams. So after the implosion of the second period, we came out firing in the third, and we caught basically where I think we were within 1 goal at one point, and then we didn't have the longevity to withstand the full third period at that pace, and
But and I think that's a great point because you're going up against 2 guys, and Brett, I want you to jump in here. 2 guys that run furiously more than anyone else, I think, in the league with Verlano and Jeff Burge. What have those 2 been to your team this entire year that was the difference maker of tonight's game?
Well, I think they have a lot to do with my success this season. They just pick up everything, every loose rebound. They're coming back, even just getting a stick in to trip up Gianni a little bit because he sucks. They just make the other team's lives uncomfortable, which is enough sometimes in this league. So they've been awesome. Everyone on that team really hustles though. So
I thought you had a great game again. You're just continuing right where you left off in the regular season. Ultimately, I gave my 3 stars to Jeff Burge, Brett, Gianni. But my unsung heroes for this game, it came down to 2 people once again. Kurt actually back-to-back weeks. This guy, he is frustrating more players than I think I've seen than any other team. What is your role with Kurt? What do you tell Kurt, or does Kurt just let's do it?
I don't know if it matters if you tell Kurt. Kurt's going to try. He's playing the same style he always plays.
So I'm going to slightly disagree with you on that one.
Ooh.
I know Kurt's been trying to not fall down as much, which he still has.
He headbutted the puck last night on the floor.
He did try to, yeah, that's right. He worked for a header off the ground.
I'm not saying he's perfect. He's got some work to do, but he's really trying to play more on his feet and play better defensively. And for the most part, I think he's made huge strides in doing that. Stripped, I think it was last week, stripped John a couple times. He gets in there and he's just in there and does his thing.
And frustrating people at the same time. And then to Jeremy, I got to go to you being the unsung hero for your team, simply because I know it was a game that you wanted. It was a game that you wanted. I know it was a game that your entire team wanted, but I felt like, especially with Kevin and the rest of the guys on their team, they all worked around you. When there were some beautiful passes in the game where you were getting some one-timer actions in there. When you guys were down at the end of the second period again, you guys started to mount the comeback in the third period, and you had the chance to be able to take the game and take the big upset, but I thought your play was really strong last night.
Kevin, we've gone through this whole recap, and one of the other guys in the game hasn't, we haven't given him a chance to talk yet. What were your thoughts on the game? Anything you disagree with on what we're talking about?
No, I mean, I think our biggest issue was, we played good defense throughout the whole game, but we just did not finish rebounds. I mean, there was a number of opportunities in front of Brett. I mean, I had a couple, Gianni had a couple where we were right in front of them, the net there, and we couldn't finish our goals on him. So, I didn't have any goals last night, so I'm kind of bummed about that, but, Jeremy had a great
There's
game.
no stat keeper, so no one
Gianni
knows.
had a great
I think he
game.
had 17 goals.
Yeah.
Your best shot of the night was in the third period, I think it was, when you were right by their net, and you turned and you just politely gave it to the goal.
Politely.
It's very Canadian of you.
And speaking of which, I was talking to Kurt before I came in here, and he's like, "Oh, at least I didn't finish with bowling balls last night." I'm like, "Well, there's no stats." So.
Brett or Kevin, it's funny you were talking about the rebounds, and Pete, you gave one of your game starts to Brett, and I mean I thought Brett had a good game, but still you're letting up more rebounds than you used to. Now granted, letting up more than you used to is about the normal amount now. But I did think there were a lot of rebounds that were left out there, and I wasn't sure, if you had any thoughts on that, or if I'm wrong and I'm just trying to be a dick.
No, I mean, I didn't personally notice anything, but, I'm playing, I'm just in there, so.
Yeah.
It might have been something I just missed.
Yeah. Well, or maybe I was, sour grapes still. Which will only get worse after I lost. Spoiler alert.
I'll mention one more thing too. Dave King, I hope he gets better soon. He could not play because he had to go see an orthopedist tomorrow actually, and with a foot problem. So,
Wow.
he said he was hurt pretty good, cannot put any pressure on his foot, and we definitely missed him last night. I'm sure.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure he's immortal.
I have no
Well, there you
response
go.
to that. Dropping truth on you. My game stars were Burge, Verlano, and Gianni. Again, Brett, no disrespect, but I thought, Jeff and Mike were, they were. I don't know how many goals they had, and I don't even know if they had more than Strachan because he put in, a couple himself. But they control that tempo, they control the puck, and every time Sugar Hill Gang tried to surge, I feel like your whole team answered back or controlled the tempo and kind of put the kibosh on that, and Burge and Verlano were a big reason for that. And then Gianni, I mean, he's been great all season long. I don't think we've talked enough about Gianni. Like, you want to talk about an unsung? I mean, you want to talk about an unsung hero? How can the number one guy be an unsung hero? How often have we said anything about his play?
Six.
Okay, so we talk about his play every single podcast.
Every single
with
podcast.
one specific adjective that keeps coming to mind.
But it's so true. I mean, and I was talking about this actually a little bit beforehand. Was who is the one player? There's in a podcast where I'm always talking about scoring. I'm a big component for the scoring situation, but we rarely talk about the top scorers. We talk about Zach, we talk about Paul a lot, but we don't talk about the rest of the guys in the league. And I think you're right where we don't talk a lot about Gianni or guys like Mike Bryant, who had his best season of his career this year, and he was the person in the league that actually surpassed his previous point total by the most.
Mike Bryant.
Yeah, Mike Bryant. Out of all the guys this year, the one person that beat it by the most was Mike Bryant.
No, that's
So,
actually.
but I mean that Gianni's incredible. The guy has just one of the best shots in the league. He is.
He's the one guy I don't like going against. I think especially this goes back to the difference between last game.
Mhm.
When he's getting his shots on net and getting them clean looks and they're going in, you guys have a good chance to win. And I know he was frustrated. I heard him yelling. I was just getting in front of him.
Mhm.
My guys were blocking him, so.
Yeah. He did ride you guys a little bit harder than I've seen him ride the team, during the season. And he always coaches.
Yeah.
But I do feel like he was a little bit more critical, especially during that third period last night when he was, really just.
And no
Try it
timeout.
out.
I still don't understand the timeout. It
Wouldn't
was
make
under
any
2 minutes. Yeah, you're down by 2 goals.
No, it wouldn't matter.
Coach
Now that
Gianni.
mentality.
Part of Gianni's coaching last night too was we were deploying a new strategy, trying not to chase them down behind the net. And
Yeah,
everything,
so that we definitely let a lot of rebounds go by
right. So
we overcommitted to our strategy. We're like, oh no, we're not crossing their 3-point line. We're just staying back here. That puck can stay down there.
Got very legalistic about
Yeah.
it.
Like this is what he wants us to do, Coach Gianni.
But I also had Jeremy as an honorable mention last night because he played awesome stepping up when, maybe me and Kevin Baldwin weren't scoring enough. And he had a lot of great goals, a lot of great passes last night.
We didn't even mention that. That was the first mention of Kevin Baldwin in this podcast.
He's on this team?
I would have given him a start.
He took a
Kevin
ball to
Baldwin?
the forehead last
All right,
night.
well,
He
now
took
that
a puck to
speak-
the fuck up.
Wow.
Who are your game stars?
Let's see, not Gianni, Mike Furlano, Jeff Burge, not Gianni, and Kevin Baldwin. Because I think
Are you really
Kevin,
giving Kevin Baldwin over Gianni just because you hate Gianni or you like to tease him, or do you really think Kevin
I think
Baldwin's
that
the guy?
Kevin Baldwin brought a more all-around game to that game, where he helped big time defensively and offensively too, create plays, stop plays, and frustrate the opponent. So that's why I picked him.
Okay, convincing argument.
I also have a different game stars.
Bonet.
I went Jeff Burge, John Strachan, and Gianni.
Yeah, Strachan, I had a hard time not giving a game star to Strachan because I think, without the stats, I don't know, but I honestly think he scored the most goals for a drive.
Yeah, he was definitely like there was a bunch of pucks that kind of just hit Steve and dropped there, and he was there just to put
That's
him
his
away.
game.
He's had a good year.
Brett or Kevin, do you have different game stars?
I had Brett as one of my game stars.
Good choice.
I mean, he shut us down, but I mean, what can you say? I mean, we talk about rebounds, and he just totally shut us down. And he's always a tough goalie to play against. And I don't know what else to add on to that. I mean, he's tough. He's tough, man.
You get two other game
Game
stars.
stars and game stars.
Yeah,
Do you have two other game stars, or you giving him all three?
I had Furlano and Gianni.
John.
I had Verlano, Burge, and Gianni as well. So.
All right. We get to move to the 8 o'clock, we're going to go to the 9 o'clock matchup. Oh, man. All right, 8 o'clock matchup. Not my favorite game of the season. It was the Roots beating Wu-Tang Clan. It was by one. I don't remember. Was it 12-11?
14-13.
14-13. Yeah, it's a Roots game. Of course, it's got at least 14 points on the board. Both teams at full strength, and it was, you guys outplayed us. The Roots from the get-go. You scored the first goal of the game, the second goal of the game, and I think the third goal of the game. Okay, thank you, Pete, reminding me that they scored the first 4 goals of the game.
And then you responded with 4 straight.
Yeah, we did. But
That was the whole team for the game, though. It's like
Yeah.
the Roots went up. NWA came back, or
Wu-Tang.
back.
Yeah. But we never had the lead. At
I was
no
thinking
point in
about
that
that.
game, we never had the lead.
Yeah.
You guys took the lead from the beginning, and we tied you a couple of times, but we never took the lead. And to me, it came down to 2 things. You had more hustle and energy, and some people would say the will to win or whatever you're gonna say. Like, they wanted it more.
I'd say killer instinct.
Okay, killer instinct from the silent assassin over
We were talking
there.
about
And so that was one thing, and the other thing was, I feel like Wu-Tang Clan, we just made too many mental mistakes, which we've made those throughout the season. We've made mental mistakes throughout the season, which is why so many games went to overtime, which is why we dropped a couple toward the end. But when we executed properly, we were unstoppable, and we just didn't execute properly. So you guys wanted it more, or whatever you want to say, their killer instinct, and we didn't execute.
I have to go to a story that my team was telling me.
Gather around, children.
The day of, I'm going into Jeremy Boner's book. But
Book.
yeah, it's a good book.
It's a pop open.
So I get a message early in the morning. Hey guys, it's game day. I was just looking outside, and I saw a hawk grab a squirrel.
Did you really?
Let's be the hawk tonight. It wasn't me. I think it was Andy. But she was just like, let's be the hawk tonight. And then it just went on to a rampage about how dogs chase squirrels and we should be the dog. And then someone was talking about I had to beat a squirrel with a shovel to kill it, and we should be the shovel. So I'm so impressed with my team last night. I mean, Gaffe came up to me and he's like, "You play defense."
Yeah.
You play defense.
You played strong defense. Not you personally.
No, I don't know what defense is.
No, you definitely don't.
No.
But
You're like
what?
Jeremy.
Defense?
That's how the
I
table.
try and learn
The table kind of slopes from Jeremy and Pete sitting on one side
It's
of the
because
table.
the amount of points that we put up. Right? Bring it down.
I actually go
Where were those
to
last night?
I'm the non-existing stat sheet for me. I probably had like 6 or 7, Bob.
I actually go to the retreats of Jeremy Bonet for defensive training, so it's been working out well. But I mean, Andy, holy cow! Is there anyone that doesn't want this guy on his team? I mean, Conco, I think you mentioned it a couple. Oh no, you talked about JJ, but Andy, this guy is incredible.
No, Andy, to use a Peterism, was the difference maker. But, I mean, he if you want to pick one guy in that entire game who, if you had taken him out or put him in, would be the winner of the loss, it's Andy.
Yeah.
I don't think, even Austin with all of his skill, even you with your goals, even Joe with his goals, Andy was the most valuable player of that game.
Oh, hands down. He got my he got my game star for sure. This guy, he runs so relentlessly, and he's a guy that wants to win, but he always keeps his cool. I mean, Brett, there have been a few times where you hit your stick against it, but especially this season, you calm yourself down, and Andy's one of those guys. I mean, talk about being a person that is cool with all of the intensity this year, right?
Yeah, that's a great point though, because if you look at the hustle guys, you look at the guys on the floor who are, those hustle, gritty, whatever.
Yep.
You got
Gaffey?
Ian, you've got Gaffey, you've got Brad, you've got maybe myself a little bit, although I'm on the bench a lot because I run out of energy so quickly.
Furlano.
You've got Furlano, you've got Andy, you've got JJ. Only one guy out of I think those 7 I just listed, I've never seen him lose his cool, and it's Andy. The other 6 of us, we're hotheads. All of us have at some point or another. I mean, some in different, different levels.
Tim Anderson too.
Yeah, even Tim Anderson. All 6 of us or 7 of us have argued with refs. All of us have gotten angry at other guys. All of us have, maybe tossing a little cross check when we don't think the ref's looking. Andy has
You wait
that
till the ref's
hustle.
not looking?
Yeah, okay, so the whole game. Sorry, had to. But Andy's the only guy who it's genuine, nice guy. I'm trying to beat you any way I can. I'm gonna out hustle you. I'm gonna out grit you, but I'm still a decent human being. And I don't think I can say that about me or most of the other guys in this league.
Can't say that about me.
No, well, I'm looking at you the whole time.
Even Commissioner John Chatterton last night was saying that Andy frustrated your whole team last night. And he had 2 quick goals in the second, I remember, which were just awesome. And,
Yeah,
John was just he just ran.
And he's
through us
always
whole
in the
game.
right place.
Yeah.
He keeps his stick on the ground, which is very key. Gianni is, I think, one of the biggest components to keep your stick on the ground.
Yeah, and he's mentioned that a couple of times.
But, I mean, he's always in the right place. To me, the game came down to it was getting down late, and I was running down the right-hand part of the rink, and Joe was on me, but Andy, I knew Andy was coming down the left-hand side. A backhand pass to him. The guy is just always in the right
Is that
spot.
a humble brag for an assist?
Yeah, I got an assist. Oh wait, no, I didn't. No, I'm gonna start getting the Paul treatment because I have to call for assists. But this guy is always in the right place at the right time. To me, I want to throw it over the goalies here. What did you guys think of the goalie matchup
Well,
last
there's
night?
only one goalie at this table now.
Oh, yeah, that's right. We'll get into that. So, Brett, what did you think of the goalie action?
I thought it was a little rough in the beginning, but I think especially Alex has really impressed me this year that he kind of has that mental toughness, and I think he explodes more than some people. But I think it was specifically in the second period. It was like, oh, Alex, he's moving too much. He's trying to save the puck too much. He needs to just kind of settle down, get in position. 5 minutes later, he's in position. He's sitting there, and he's just calm, cool, and collected again. And he really kept Wu-Tang in. He played a solid game.
There was one point in the game too where he actually lost his cool because he thought you guys got a little lazy on defense, and he was yelling at you guys, and I've never seen him react that way.
But the music was too loud. So nobody
I bet on his team. He does that.
Oh,
But
really?
on the other side though, Kenton played awesome last night. Kenton had a solid game.
Yeah, play of the week for me at least.
I don't want to take anything away from Kenton because, we lost. And he's played one of the better games that he's had this season.
Best game.
But I'm going to take something away from him, I guess.
Man.
I
One
feel
good
like
week.
95% of our shots were directly at his chest. This is a couple of weeks in a row now where we just haven't put good shots on net. That we've either hit him directly, we've been hitting goalies directly in the middle or just shooting wide. And you know,
Or
he had a
maybe
good
his
game.
positioning
I was
is
gonna say,
that.
you're saying that he got his chest right where it needed to be.
Yeah, wherever the puck was going. He could have been standing in the corner and we would have hit him in the chest.
I think one of my favorites is because he had a few really good glove saves,
Yeah.
and I was
He
just
did.
like,
I'm
dude.
not.
But hey man, this is the best part about it. I was like, man, you had some great glove saves last night. And he goes, honestly, when it goes in my glove, I don't even know. Like, the glove is just kind of there and it goes in. So I was like, it worked out.
You know, sometimes when you wear powdered sugar, the puck just sticks.
I don't know about the chemistry of that one. But no, I mean, in all seriousness though, he did have a good game. He probably had the best save percentage of the year if we had actually been keeping stats because we put a lot of shots on him. We put a ton of
Especially
shots
in
on
the
him.
third. Especially in the
And
third.
you know what? Not a ton of rebounds are being left off. And when they were, you guys cleared them the hell away. I was telling my team between the first and the second, or between the second and the third, that I felt like I was in good position to grab rebounds, and I could never get one on my stick because every time I'd get one, if I got one, it was just immediately cleared. Usually by Andy.
The game was, oh yeah.
And Dang. I mean, Dang was cleaning up rebounds like it was his job, which coincidentally it is his job.
Yeah, it is. He's my boy. There was one point, I don't know if you guys saw it, but it was under a minute left. The puck was on the right side of Kenton, and someone shot it, and it literally was crawling across the net with Joe right there. And I'm just staring at it. I was like, no! He literally went to swing a stick, and it just bounced over. I mean, thank God.
Wasn't that with time expiring?
Yeah. Oh, it was.
Because Joe was, he was beside himself.
Oh, he was
about
frustrated for
particular-
sure.
Well, that particular shot, he's
Yeah.
like, how did I miss that? Because that was in
Why
overtime.
don't? Because Kenton wasn't even in the crease. I mean, he was out to block the shot, and it squeaked through. I mean, he had a whole open net.
I would have to say though, Kenton probably spends the most time out of the crease than any other goalie, honestly.
Yeah.
Yeah, you say good position because he does cut down the angles, but sometimes to a fault.
Yeah.
You know, you need to be able to at least be in the area code.
Yeah.
Well, it's something that we've talked about is
Unless you're Paul.
well, because he misses a couple shots, especially in the top corner. So he's been coming out of the net to try and block more of it. So it's been a learning year for all of us. I mean, obviously I'm not a big defensive guy, so it's my team working on clearing out the pucks. But overall, really stoked for my guys. Huge win, great game.
Yeah, the 7 takes down the 2. And you know what? All of you guys played well. Ian, I thought, played the best game I've seen of him all season.
And you guys stayed out of the box.
Yeah. And that's,
No penalties.
Yeah, no penalties, which I got the stats here somewhere about how many penalty minutes you had this season, but it's the most.
Too.
Most.
Which he doesn't.
I've got 9 recorded on the season, but I think I've missed a few, and 2 of them were 4 penalty minute games. So I'm sure I'm missing a couple penalty minutes in there, but either way, but Ian played, I thought, the best game all season. He played good, he played smart, he played physical but not dirty. There was no even close calls where a ref could have called something on him.
He had some nice shots too.
Yeah, he had some great shots. He buried a couple. He buried at least one.
He honestly, a guy. Oh man, honestly, I say that a lot too. But as far as
honestly,
as far
So
as
does Gianni.
late round picks go, this guy, if you're looking for a scorer, this guy is a great pick up. Every year, he's a 5th round pick, but he's one of the top scoring 5th rounders that we have in this league consistently.
He's got a very underrated shot, and sometimes he misfires, but when it does stick, it's a pretty solid shot.
I want to be a 5th rounder.
He'd be a great scorer. we'll just make it happen next year. 5th rounder.
and then we haven't even talked at all about Austin. I don't think he scored too many, but he scored a couple of really, really pretty ones. And I was telling someone earlier, I like to think that I'm a decent defenseman, that I don't like to let people get past me too often. But, I mean, I was standing there staring at my toes a couple of times with Austin just blowing by me. I thought I had him, I thought I was squared up, I didn't think I was going to bite on that toe drag that he does. And next thing I know, I'm just picking daisies in left field, and he's on his way to my goal.
He's good. That's all you can say. This kid is good. He got a 3-star. I gave it to Andy, Austin, and actually Joe. My unsung heroes were both goaltenders, Kenton and Alex.
I gave it to Andy, you, and Joe. I do think Austin had a big impact on the game because we did start to cheat his way. If we were playing defense than anyone, it was starting to be toward him. But I thought you put up more goals, but I don't know that for sure.
I actually went Alex, Andy, and Kevin for my 3-star.
Alex did step up big. He really, as he has all season long, he's been You give us most other goalies in this league, you know, other than like the top couple of guys, and I don't think we were above 500 this season without Alex.
Good point. Any other thoughts on 3 stars, boys?
I got Pete, Joe, and Andy.
I'd say.
I had same as Jeremy, Andy, Ken, and Alex. I know we didn't take stats, but I think statistically they would have been kind of lower. But they made the saves that they needed to do to keep the game close. Especially Ken, I think just made a couple more saves than Alex did. So really solid game from him. And yeah, Andy just, you don't really notice him. No offense to you guys, but I was watching this game and the Roots, I was like, I can't pick anyone out of here that's especially blowing me away. And then Andy comes through and just scores a goal. I'm like, okay, there he is.
Yeah.
And by the way, did a quick fact check. Ian was finished the regular season in 22nd place in points per game out of 48 guys, or 40 floor players. So 22nd out of 40, and he's your 5th rounder. So you're,
Does that help you?
well,
That's
yeah, well, I keep my own stats. Well, I shouldn't say that. Jeremy keeps the stats, and then I log them in my own database.
I have them all in my backpack. But feel free to
All
Lots of
papers,
tally marks.
all
You're
papers.
becoming a lot of tally marks.
feel free to sort.
One, 2,
All right, we good to move to 9 o'clock?
yeah, absolutely.
So NWA beats Public Enemy by 1 or 2?
One goal.
By 1 goal. What was the final score?
10-9.
10-9. You know, this was a fun game to watch. We got Conco here who's in the game. So here's the big storyline from the game. It's after my game. I'm pretty dejected. I'm not feeling too good about life. I tried to fight my own player. And all of a sudden I look up and Post has his goalie pads on and Conco's holding a 4-player stick. And immediately I just stopped thinking about my game and I thought, what the hell is
Well, that's
going on
exactly
here?
what happened. They knew it was going to be a big
Worked out for him.
I even yelled out and said, "Who's your goalie?" And I totally forgot Pose on.
Well, no Sturgis. I mean, we do have to point
Yeah,
out, no Sturgis.
Mike was missing from the game. You know, family comes first. But the Foes Conco switcheroo puts Foes in net, Conco on the floor, and it worked. I mean, I don't know if that was the reason, but I think it was the reason. I don't know. I mean, it worked.
And I actually was looking at Gianni when the game was finishing up because Foes was coming down. I was like, wait, what? You're walking in the net? And Gianni just looked at me and goes, Foes playoff. He beats everyone. And I was just like, okay, all right. This guy was incredible. I mean, Conco, you got to talk about his play last night. He was amazing.
All right. So
right.
before we even get into the switch,
We got the double off right there.
before we even get into the switch, playing pubic enema, I have to say that our team
Oh, no.
shaved pubes gave us way more stamina. We were more aerodynamic. And that was one of the biggest keys to the game. Without being
right?
So what the heck are you going to do
That
next
is very
week?
disturbing.
Well, I don't know. We'll
We'll
have
get
to
to
shave our pubes again and hope Paul's beard weighs him down.
He shaved too.
Yeah.
He shaved
Well, he's
too.
got more facial hair than all of us. Except for Jamie.
Yeah, no, Jake.
Whatever. All right. So, anyways, back earlier in the season, like week 6, Foes and I were talking about doing this, just switching it up just to see, because I didn't have my best season this year. So we were thinking about just.
Wait, no. You didn't have your best season?
Yeah, but I still.
Have we talked about that this season?
I still didn't suck
No.
as much as Gianni did. So.
So. Hashtag.
So we had talked about it, and we're like, all right, let's try this next week. And then Foes went off and had 7 points that game. I forget who it was against. And we're like, all
What
right.
do you think?
The roots.
yeah.
The roots are on fire.
So we were just kind of like, all right, let's just keep doing this because it's working for us. So then, come to find out, we knew that Mike Sturgis might not be able to make it because his daughter Addie was having her 5th birthday party. So
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday.
we dedicated our game to her.
That was the reason.
Am I shaving your pubes? That's how you dedicate the game?
Oh!
Totally
Check,
unrelated.
check, please, check. Clean up on all
Oh,
comments. Oh my God.
Dude, all right, that was Kevin Parker. So Mike told me that when he listens to the podcast, it's usually after his golf league, and he's been, maybe he's had a couple, so he might be giving you some angry messages.
It's too bad.
Sorry, Mike.
It's too bad that we don't play you next week. So So, I don't even remember. Okay. So
Yeah,
Mike,
gave the game.
at like, I think it was earlier that morning, Mike had texted us in our group chat that he wasn't going to be able to make it. So we're like, okay, let's just stick to our game plan and, we'll get through this. So, I'm working. Later on in the afternoon, I sent a message to Fuzz. I'm like, hey, how do you feel about switching it up again? And he was all for it. He was pumped. We were pumped. We put it
He's
to,
probably so excited you couldn't even understand what you were saying.
oh my god. I was even, we were both getting like those hits of adrenaline just thinking about it. Fuzz said that he was in his living room and he started doing the butterfly and pretending like he was in his locker. And so that kind of gave us a little bit of,
story.
yeah, it just gave us some excitement. And so I told him, I said, you know what? I'll bring all my goalie stuff inside. I'll pretend like I'm getting ready to play goalie. We'll really throw these guys off because they're just going to be expecting me. And so I didn't get to watch much of the second game because I kept going downstairs in the third period because Foles wasn't there. And I'm like, is he gonna be able to be here on time and suit up? So I'm all nervous and everything. And then Foles miraculously shows up, gets ready and everything. I'm out there warming up with my team. Nobody knows what's going on. We're all pumped up because, Sturgis is in there. Nobody expects us to be able to pull this off.
No.
Then we pull this one out of left field. And we played an awesome game as an entire team. Everybody on our team contributed, top to bottom. Everybody had a goal, or at least a goal. I was tired as shit. The whole.
Well, you're playing against a very aggressive team. You're looking at Tim Anderson, Matt Gluley, Chris Enright, a guy who just doesn't stop running. Jane. I mean, the entire team is just going to wear you down, and you don't have a sub. You're down a sub. So.
Yeah.
For sure, it was tough.
It helped out that Mike Bryan was able to stay on the entire time, but I was so winded. And one of the biggest reasons that we made that switch was because I thought that I would have better stamina than Foes. But then again, Foes also had a little bit of a nagging leg injury from last week, so it kind of worked out in that. And he played probably better than I could have played in that. So we had a couple bad bounces go against us. I had a couple bad plays where I was kind of expecting us to win the puck battle in the defensive zone, so I was kind of cherry picking a little bit, and then it turned into a 2-on-1, and my guy ended up scoring a few times. But I made up for it by sneaking a few past Bill too, who I thought played a really, really deceivingly good game because even though we might have outscored him in the final, he was sucking up every single rebound. My whole job in goal was to get in front of him and get all the rebounds, but he didn't give up any.
There was not many.
Every time I turned around, he had a puck.
The shot was either going in the net or he was saving it.
Yeah,
Yep.
I love watching goalies play on the floor though because we all scream. Every single ex-goalie loves to screen the other goalie. We know how to do it. We know how to piss other guys off.
Oh yeah, I was standing in front of him and I could kind of see his shadow, and I kept looking out of the corner of my eye. He kept going back and forth, so I started doing the same thing.
I know, it's so awesome.
I was throwing him off.
Yeah, I mean, Jeremy and Kevin, you guys both played in a game at the 7 p.m. game without a sub. I mean, talk about how hard it was. I mean, these guys were able to pull out of it. How exhausting was it for you guys?
And they're number 2.
I mean,
Yeah.
to benefit them, they have a guy like Mike Bryan that just plays the entire game, so it's easier to switch off between, just you got one guy that's gonna shoulder it like an Enright or something like that.
I won't do it.
No, I mean there's very few people in this league that physically can do it, and even the ones that probably can are less likely to actually do it as well. So I mean that definitely helped in that situation. But I mean even still, the bottom end, like the lower pick guys for NWA showed up big. Jamie had a huge game. It's tough because that's what it came down to. Who's third and fourth and fifth rounders, are going to have a better game, and I feel like that's where NWA took it. I feel like the faux switch was brilliant. I'm tempted to ask you if you're going to continue doing that through the rest of the playoffs, but I know that you're not going to tell me either way.
No, Sturgis is playing next week.
There you go.
So.
Sturgis is playing in
Either that or maybe Steve Newberry, because he's got some experience between the fights.
But to speak to experience, Fos obviously has played a ton of goalie, not so much for, and Conco in other leagues has played, outside of net. So I feel like it kind of was a smart decision in that sense, just to play that experience too, where Conco probably has more experience playing out than Fos does.
Yeah, that's a good point.
So, I mean, I feel like all of those were really the reasons why they won. But even with a guy, when you still have two guys subbing out between the three guys, it's still their gas. Like Conco said, he's still dying, even when you have that guy shouldering all the load.
Yeah, I thought Jamie was definitely an unsung hero tonight.
Attisworther?
Yeah.
Oh, he found his spot. This is the first time all season where I feel like he found his spot and he got fed in the spot. You know what I'm talking about too. Like,
Oh, yeah.
right outside the 3-point line,
Yep.
between
Yeah.
3-point and mid-court, in the corners. He just hangs out there and waits for someone to feed it to him. He's one time.
The entire fall. That's I told him, just go to that spot.
That's a
I will
spot.
give it to you. It blows my mind that he didn't do it all year. Like, he was in that spot multiple times this year, but he didn't get it. But tonight or Wednesday night, oh my gosh, he was there.
Yeah, he got a new stick this season too, and he was kind of getting used to that a little bit for a while. And before this game, like, we had been talking, him and I texted, and he was telling me that it's tough with Bill. He feels like it's really hard to score on him, which it is, and he always has trouble with him. But tonight, oh man, he found his spot. There was one point, and I think it was the third, where I was sitting on the bench on the far side, and he lined up right at that 3-point line on the right side and just shot it, and I had the perfect angle, and I saw it go right in, right to the left of Bill's foot, inside the post. It was perfect. But I also want to give Pubic Enema some props too, because they played a really, really frustrating game. Like, I know everybody on my team is pretty gassed, and being down a guy contributes to that. But the way that they don't necessarily run a lot, they don't have a ton of speed, but they play such a spread out game so well that we were forced to go running back and forth so much. There were times where Matt was just like sneaking up out of nowhere, and I'm sprinting back to help out, and he's already got the puck and shooting.
Yeah, Matt had I thought a really good game. Good hands as usual, and he shot a lot more. Well, he's been shooting a lot more the last few weeks, so that's not uncommon the last few weeks. But he had some good looks. I don't know how many goals he had. I know he had at least a few.
I think 12.
12 and a half.
Yeah, 12 and a half.
He also got laid out, which is kind of crazy. I thought it might have been like an air.
I thought that was
Oh, right in front of the net, right?
Yeah, he
I thought that was
breakaway.
who got him.
Was it Newberry or?
Newberry.
Yeah,
Was it Newberry? Yeah.
Newberry just like they met. He was making a play on the puck. I don't know. I saw it from upstairs, and I don't really know the rules that well, so I guess it might have been okay. But I thought I just saw Matt go down. I'm like, oh, that's.
We have
By the way, was it?
we have a ref clinic for that.
Oh, do you?
Yeah.
See, oh, there you go. Plug ref clinic completes attended.
Was it after the first period that I think Matt got hit in the leg by Newberry after the period went
Oh,
off?
it was
like,
such a dive. That wasn't that hard.
He went down, man. He went down. Like, the one knee there. But no, I thought Public Enemy had a ton of shots on Foes, but Foes played a great game.
Yeah, I didn't see a lot from Tim Anderson. I feel like.
In the third period, he had two awesome
Don't
goals.
hear that.
No, yeah. Smoking the bath salts right now. Coming after me.
He's swinging into here right now.
But in all seriousness, I expected to see a little more from him. And maybe I just wasn't watching close enough because I was probably still sulking after my own game. But I didn't see the kind of impact that I expect from him.
Especially in playoffs, this guy's veteran. I mean, I saw him have a lot of clean plays, but the Lily stood out to me more. Even Lally was playing a very impressive game as well.
But Shane, like he played a good game.
Yeah, he
Like on the crease, I tried pushing him away, and he just stands.
It's not.
There was one time where I tried running by him, and he gave me a little shove, and he almost knocked me down.
I remember that one of those battles, at least, where the two of you were like in the crease and you were like pushing with all of your might. It was like the guy trying to push the boulder up the hill. And you're like, no, not gonna happen.
Yeah, Brett, what's it like with a guy like that in your way?
It sucks. No, you start overcompensating, trying to move and get a view of the puck, because you have to see the puck obviously to stop it most of the time. So.
You realize Pete's asking these questions because he's playing you next week.
Yeah, well, I'm gonna stop it anyway. So.
Oh, there you go. No, but I mean, I don't mean to shit on like Tim Anderson. I thought he played a good game. What I'm saying is, I expect a lot from him because I think he's one of the best players in the league, and I didn't see that kind of impact that I would expect from one of the top tier guys.
Yeah.
I think he did have a good game. I mean, I thought.
A good game, yeah. But I'm saying like a.
Well, I mean, in the third period, he had two awesome goals.
If you look at the stats, he did not have a good game.
Yeah, I mean they're blank.
Yeah, he's blank. Bowling ball.
But he had 2 great goals in the third period, which sort of brought the team back a little. He had one which was, a rebound, then he flipped back with his backhand over Foes,
Oh,
which
that's
was a
right.
great
That
goal.
was nice.
And then he had a diving goal like a minute later, which I thought.
No,
was
that's
really-
right. Oh, that was
Yeah,
my
the
play of the
diving
week.
That
He
me
was
too.
running at it. It was like behind post, and he was
Yeah.
like jabbing at his stick. And he dove with the stick.
Yeah, and then he ran off, with his stick held high, and he was pretty proud there. And that brought Public Enemy back.
That's a good point. I kind of forgot about that.
And then also I want to add with
Nice
Lally.
game, Tim.
I want to add with Lally. Everyone in the stands, and Brett included, and we both saw the punch goal that he tried there. He, we saw that Lally, and he turned around and started smiling. And it was pretty funny.
That was the best though, because when he did it, he tried to smack it in his
Yeah,
head,
yeah.
and he goes, "Oh crap!"
I think he's laughing because all was falling out.
They can't do that.
Can't do that. Can't do that.
Was that aw crap like, oh shoot, I shouldn't have done that, or aw crap, it didn't go in the net?
Oh crap! I got caught.
Yeah.
And-
Fun game for sure. Mine were Foes, Bryant, and Enright for 3 stars of the game. I thought on both sides of the coin, that both leading scorers were definitely the strongest point for each team, and then Foes was just incredible.
I had Brian Enright also, but I had Jamie instead of Foes, but now I think I might be wrong because you're right. He hasn't played goal all year. I kind of forgot he was the goalie even for this game, and he did. He had a great game. Only allowed 9 goals.
Boom.
See, actually, I went Bryant, Enright, and Jamie for my 3 stars.
Yeah, well, I did. I just feel kind of bad about it.
Well, he's the official stat keeper. So.
Sure, it is.
I don't think
Official
it
no
doesn't.
stat keeper.
Doesn't matter.
Official.
Whatever these
You
next.
did a great job not keeping stats.
Thank you.
What about you guys? What do you think?
I had Bryant Enright and I had Foes. He played really solid. Nothing too fancy, but he got the job done. So can't argue with the results.
2-2 on the game stars here. What do you guys have?
I had Bryant, Jamie, and Tim Anderson actually.
Come on.
But one more quick note that I forgot to add. Mike Bryant had a hell of a slap shot, during the game that actually rocked the net backwards a little bit. And I was like, holy crap! I've never seen anyone hit a puck that hard that it rocked.
This is really quick too.
Yeah.
I would have to say
His
that he
release
probably
is
has
so
the
hard.
hardest shot in the league.
Yeah, we're actually bringing this speedometer next week. So.
Nice.
We should really do that, like have a skills competition.
We keep talking about that, like an all-star break or something in the
I
fall.
would feel
that'd be
bad
cool to have.
winning everything.
Yeah, in between seasons or something.
I said I
I feel bad winning everything.
Oh.
But yeah, I had the same stars: Foes, Bryant, and
Good point.
Enright.
Good point.
Yeah.
The same stars, even though there's 3 different sets of stars. Alright, we're gonna move to the 9 o'clock games.
Let's do it.
Alright, Run DMC versus Furious 5, and Furious 5 takes the win in a hard-fought game. A couple of main key notes on this one. No Chris Matchbox 20, or whatever his name, Kraft Macaroni Cheese.
Chris Marco Polo.
Mazikowski.
Chris, is that his name? That's
Yes.
a funny one.
Damn Polacks.
And D'Angelo has a bum hamstring during the game. Apparently he pulled something or
He
tweaked
doesn't
something
need it.
last week.
Oh, I
And-
thought he did it sliding on
Not
his ass
anymore.
into his own net.
And at the end of the first period, I guess he tweaked it again. He was obviously in a lot of pain. You could see it all game long after that first end of the first period there. And it's funny, Zach came up to me before the game started saying, like, man, I'm tired of Chris. And then Brian with a hamstring. It was kind of curtains for Run DMC in that regard. But let's not take any credit away from Furious 5. They played a hell of a game.
Yes, they did. The final score was 14-9 today. Don't look at that
It was
final
so much
score.
closer than that.
It was
though.
not, because that was like the last 3 minutes.
Yeah,
pretty
it
much.
was a 1-goal game, I think, or a 2-goal game with like halfway through the third.
Easily. And it was so exciting to watch Zach. It was Zach being Zach, Paul being Paul. Both of them were just going back and forth. Paul was shooting it, and it was all going into the net. Zach was making his comeback, making unbelievable dekes and unbelievable backhands into the net. But the one thing I did want to point out was, last week Gaffney was here as our guest, and he was talking about this game, and he said specifically, I'm picking Furious 5 because I think we are going to play the same game that we're doing. However, Jesse is going to be the one that's going to come in and score.
Yep.
And Jesse had a game. He actually got a game star for me. I gave it to Zach Hall and Jesse.
I did the same thing.
Because Jesse was incredible. Jesse had so many dekes last night beating Ramsey, getting around the defense, and granted they had one less player last night, so you're a little bit more tired, but Jesse was incredible last night. I mean, it seems like most of it.
Especially in the third period, I think. I mean, that's when Jesse had, a ton of his goals. I mean, he had a great night.
And he lost his stick a few.
Yeah. So
Well, Zach took it from him.
So what we're referring to is, Zach's infamous little stick flip thing. That a lot of guys do, but Zach's infamous for it because he does
He's
it the
the
best, and he does it a lot. He kept, getting the stick up under Jesse and kind of batting up into the air, and at least
It was
4
four.
times
At
I
least
saw
four.
it
He
go
did it
under.
to Paul a couple times. I was like, holy crap.
Oh yeah,
Paul,
actually, you can do it to Paul, and Paul gets pissed about it too.
Yeah.
But the 4th time that he knocked out of Jesse's hands, I thought we might have a little melee.
Finally, on the 5th time, I saw him do it again. Jesse's just holding on for dear life.
Yeah. Oh, I can see it too. Like you don't see how white his knuckles were from the track. He was holding it so tight. But no, Jesse did have a great game. I have to say one thing that still bothers me a little bit about Jesse though, and it's when a play doesn't go well, he still gets visibly frustrated and almost he doesn't quit on the play because I don't think he realizes he's quitting on the play, but he gets so upset about the miss that he stops paying attention to what's happening around him.
Mm-hmm.
And there were a couple of times, not as often because they played really well all around, but there were a couple of times where a pass didn't go through that he didn't think a teammate should have passed, or a teammate didn't finish on a shot that he passed to them, that he looked up toward the heavens and kind of threw his hands up, and meanwhile the play's still going on around you.
Yeah.
The puck, it's a small ass gym. The puck's always within reach. Keep playing. Be upset. Don't get me wrong. I tried to fight my own
Is
teammates.
that the difference between veterans and newer
Jesse's been in the
players?
league a long time.
That's just Jesse
I
being
think it's
Jesse.
just personality.
Yeah, I think that's just him being himself.
I don't think I've ever seen you do it, Jeremy.
Do what? Give up on a play?
No, look up to the heavens, though. I mean,
Jeremy already gave up on this podcast. You just woke him up.
No, I've never once gave up on a play out of his shot.
No. That's
you just go crap, and then you go get it.
No.
Yeah, and then I score on the second attempt.
every time.
Every time. 100%
No,
of the
but
time, every time.
Jesse did have a great game. I think
He
it was the
did.
best game he's had all season.
I'm not gonna take anything away from him, and honestly, I feel like if I had stats in front of me, he probably would have got a game star from me. But I gave it to Tim Scott. Coming back from a surgery and playing as well as he did in that game, I feel like you can't really discount that.
See, I didn't take the surgery into effect, so that's why I didn't get it.
You just invented a game, man. It's not on your person.
Come on.
He had a lot of gall coming back. So.
No.
But he really did step up big in the third. It was
Yeah.
kind of back. There were in the beginning, you could tell Zach had his number for a while, but then he stepped up big time, and it was,
Zach has every goalie's number.
yeah, he's got my number.
Yeah, Zach had 3 quick goals in the second that, really got Tim frustrated, looked like a little bit. But then Tim held on, in the third period there, and, went back to his usual, stuffing the puck everywhere. So.
And that's the fun part about seeing. This is if you're looking to see who the best 2 players are in this league, this is the game that you watch.
Right, yeah.
Because Paul, the best shot in the league, consistently, always going to shoot, and hands down going to make the most into the net. But then you look at Zach. This is the reason these guys are always going to be picked number 1 and number 2, because no matter who's on their team, you have a chance to win every year. I mean, if you're the number
Too
1.
bad they didn't face each other in the first round.
Yeah, they both were pretty disappointing, I'm sure, but so.
Yeah, Paul actually came up to me after the game and he's like, "Oh, there's no stats in the playoffs." I felt like I had 15 assists.
Well, there was one that he did have.
Yeah, he had a beautiful assist.
Yeah.
We're talking about his 1 assist.
It was on the power play, and
Pete Skidmore, right?
yeah, it was
Yeah.
Pete.
Oh,
I'll
shit,
shoot
great
myself.
shots.
It was Pete. I'll shoot myself, and I'll shoot it in the back of the net, wide open. Got that one timer.
He scored it off his own leg.
But Skidmore had a great goal.
Wasn't even Jesse DePaul though? If we were keeping NHL lists, I think it was Jesse DePaul.
We don't even keep Rochester for hockey assists. We're talking about NHL.
No, but I mean,
The secondaries.
that power play unit looked like the best power play unit. Don't get me wrong, At the beginning of the power play, they were kind of killing time a little bit.
Go home, Bob. You're drunk.
Yeah.
But when they actually turned it on and they started to move it back and forth between three of them, I thought they were all in the right spot. They all looked pretty good. Overall, the passing for Furious 5 impressed me.
Yeah.
Because they're a team that was made fun of pretty much all season long for not passing. But Jesse had a great pass to Pete Skidmore also that I remember that just put it right on Pete's stick.
That was last week.
Well, I think
It
part
was
of that.
yesterday.
Oh, sorry.
I think part of that was, when Jaffe finally came back, and started getting some games in, they had, a little bit more energy, a little bit more, cohesiveness there.
Coach Gaff.
Yeah.
He does like the coach.
Yep.
He does. But one guy I do want to talk about that we haven't talked about yet is JJ. This
Like
guy.
John Ramsey.
Oh man. No, I'm talking about JJ. JJ, this guy just runs and runs and
He got
runs.
tired out though.
He was all over the ball.
Without Magic Mike ski, I mean, he didn't have enough time to breathe.
No, without Kraft macaroni and cheese, he was no, he got tired and he said after the game.
You're talking about Chris Marco Rubio?
Well, Brett, talk about. I mean, what were these goalies facing into this game? Yeah, you've played the top two guys so many times before. I mean, how difficult was it for Tim and Ramsey?
I mean, you got really difficult. Is the short answer. You see Zach.
Man, a few words.
Nailed it.
No,
It
you have
was
Zach
hard.
going, and you think you have the whole net covered, and he literally finds a puck-sized hole by your head. And you got Paul, who's maybe not that accurate, but his shot is just ridiculous. Like if you can see it and get in front of it, you have a chance.
But seeing it getting in front of it.
Yeah, that is
He's so
the chance.
aggressive.
It's so fast too.
He's like
Yeah.
a fucking
The quickest
like a
one.
horny Wolverine. He's just so relentless. He just doesn't give up. Like a Wolverine in heat.
I'm just thinking about a horny Wolverine.
I'm not talking about the X-Men either. I'm talking about like the actual,
Isn't it
the
a
actual
full moon
animal.
tonight? Isn't it a full moon tonight?
Maybe. That's why
Watch out.
that's why he's in the Adirondacks right now. So that he doesn't hurt anybody by accident.
Oh my god.
So 14-9. That was the game, and that's one point.
I think watching this game, I think this is one that John Ramsey really wishes he could have had back because I know he was frustrated, but I know that he could play better than, or I know he could have made a lot of these saves, and I think he knows it too.
See, I thought he had a good game. Maybe
No, he did.
maybe I'm wrong
No,
because
I'm agreeing with you.
I thought Brett, let up a couple of rebounds and everyone disagreed with me. And I thought Ramsey had a good game, and you're saying he could have played better.
I mean that he did have a good game. But, as a goalie, like, there's always those games where you play well, but you could have been better.
Yeah, well, as a goalie, I hate that exercise as a goalie, though, because you always could have, been better, Even when you play a great game, you still could have stopped one or two more.
Yeah, but, I mean, look at last
Unless
week.
you have a shutout.
He did a pretty good job of shutting down Paul last week when they played him.
But he had Magic Mike ski there in front of him.
How many times are you going to beat Paul 3 times in a season?
No, and that was why I picked Furious 5, is I didn't think that you were going to beat Paul 3 times in the season.
He played Paul
I-
3 times.
I thought Ramsey played real well. I thought that he did everything he could have done. And honestly, Run DMC was on a 4-game winning streak heading into the playoffs, and all 4 wins, I think, were more because of Ramsey than any other individual guy. Obviously, Zach's the biggest guy on the team. Zach's the MVP of the team.
Not
But
size-wise, though.
No, not all size-wise.
That's what she said.
But the difference between their wins and losses, I thought, were more Ramsey, and then this game was an anomaly because I thought Ramsey played as well as he's played the last 4
Did you say Brown
wins.
Ramsey?
Brown Ramsey.
Ramsey.
If I could jump in on that point too, actually. I noticed especially in the first period, you guys have said it before, but Run DMC just didn't play defense. You can only give Paul so many open shots. There was one specifically, no one was guarding Paul, and he just walks up to the 3-point line, just rips a shot, and I mean, there's nothing you can really do about that. And I know John after the game was upset about his game, but I thought he had a really solid game.
No,
And
he was
could
good
he have
himself
saved
up.
more? Probably, but I mean,
No,
there's not much more you can do.
I agree with that.
You're such a
I'm just,
dick, man.
I'm just saying, I know just being a goalie, like you have those games where you're a little bit frustrated knowing that you could have played a little bit better. Not saying that you played a bad game at all. I'm just saying.
Well, you are
know.
saying that. You're
I don't
pulling a
even know
Pete
what I'm
Argy.
saying.
You're pulling a Pete Argy. Being the dick.
No, I think we're okay here. I think.
One more note I'd like to add. I thought it was nice that Pete and Zach were having a nice conversation at the end of the second period. The third period starts, and then Paul is like walking back to his bench, because it's on the other side of the gym. Yeah, like somebody yelled at him, like, "Come on, Paul, get back on the back on the bench because they called for too many minutes." Screaming at him.
I know. That's like,
Holy crap!
The game's like already starting, 30 seconds in. And
Yeah.
And like casually.
Yeah,
It's
that's
like,
like-
whatever. Like, this isn't playoff hockey.
They can't start the game without us.
Yeah, the two top guys in the league
Yeah.
missed
I'm
the
like-
beginning of the third period because they were shooting the shit out of them.
Right. But I was like, let's go, guys. We need
It was
to
nice.
three. Let's start this up. And everyone's just like, no, we gotta wait for Paul. It's like, no, we don't.
In the middle of competition,
Actually,
let's have a
rebuttal.
friendly conversation.
Yeah, all right. Rebuttal.
Alright, that rebuttal will be in the preview edition, so make sure you pay attention to that. So, my game stars, I think we already said Paul, Zach, and Jesse. I had the same as Petar. Anyone else have anything different than Pete or Paul, Zach, and Jesse?
I had Tim, Paul, and Zach.
I had the same. I had Tim as an honorable mention there. He played a great game.
There are no honorable mentions.
Tim, Paul, and Zach.
Alright. Stars of the week. I had Andy, Mike Bryant, and Paul. I thought those were the top three guys that made the biggest difference in their games. Pete?
Paul, Austin, and Foes. Maybe I was watching a different game, but I think Austin had a huge week. He was a big component for our game, and Foes was just awesome. And we've already talked about Paul.
So
So
this is what happens when we don't keep stats. We get more variation on our stars. Jerry Bear?
official?
I'm gonna go Paul, Mike, and Andy.
Mike Bryant?
Mike Bryant, yeah.
Alright, so
You know, he's actually going like Sturgis.
Yeah.
well, putting your family first is...
Happy birthday.
We did it for you, Eddie.
Brett?
I had Paul, Mike Bryant, and this is probably just because he's on my team, but I'm picking Jeff Burge. His defense is incredible. And
Oh yeah. Do we even talk about Jeff?
Yeah, we talked about it. It's already.
There's so many times that, Cherry Hill had a chance for a wide open shot, and he just comes back and takes the puck.
Yeah, fuck that guy.
No, I had to give it to him.
By the way, I just noticed we sat Brett between the two Sugar Hill games. So Kevin, what do you think?
I had Paul, Mike Bryant, and Andy.
Alright, another one for those
Boy.
Hmm.
Connor's gonna pick
Paul.
Johnny sucks. Gianni sucks.
Gianni sucks. No, I didn't pick him. I'm just making that statement.
Yeah.
Paul, Gianni sucks. Mike Bryant, Gianni sucks, and Foes.
Who on your team?
Pretty close.
Yeah.
Paul and Mike Bryant being the two favorites there. So let's get to a couple of awards of the week. The Dan Gladding Sacrifice Your Body Award, sponsored by Wegmans Frozen Peas, goes to Zach Davis.
Yeah.
Actually, I
Nasty
forgot the play of the week, which feeds into my play of the week. So we'll go back to play of the week, and then I'll do the rest of the awards. My play of the week. So first of all, Zach blocked a ton of shots from Paul and was just getting beat the F up. And he kept like doing the, I don't know what it's called, when you put one knee down and you kind of stick down and get low to block that shot. And he was
It's
just.
called blocking a shot.
But he was
French?
He was psyching himself up to do it. He's like we're jumping up and down and getting ready. He's like, all right.
It's gonna hurt.
The best
That's
part
why
is
Happy Gilmore
when
in
he was
front
off
of the baseball machine.
365 more days.
from the bench when he wasn't even on the floor, he was yelling at his team because they weren't doing it. Like nobody wants to do that.
Right.
Well, I yell at my team for not doing that too, but I'm a dick. So my play of the week was Zach. He blocks Paul's shot. It obviously hurts. He's like kind of hopping around one leg. Paul gets the puck back. So Zach goes down again, blocks his shot again, gets hit. He's like, he steps back up a little bit gingerly. The puck's in front of him. He takes the puck, goes back into dribbles the puck, and then goes top shelf and scores. And it was just.
Was it bouncing? The fuck?
I don't know. It was dribbling it like a basketball. Fuck you guys. He scored off of 2 block shots and it was pretty. What are you guys playing with?
My play of the week is actually brought to you by the pool cue. The Bob. The Bob is down low, fighting for the puck, literally right next to Ken. Both him and Ian are right next to the net. They both fall to the floor. Bob makes, I'm on the bench and I'm watching this happen. Bob makes this incredible play. He sees, I think it was John at the point.
Yeah.
So he takes his stick and uses it like a pool cue to knock the puck to John. The whistle was blown dead because it was a hand pass. And then Bob is.
It wasn't a hand pass.
But it was.
It was called as a
He
hand
hit
pass,
it with
but
the butt of his stick. So the Bob does his best PR impression, yelling at Tim, which is obviously I'm very proud of.
And it's never a good idea.
It's never a good idea, but Tim warns him. He calms down. Bob gets ready to block a shot, runs in to block the shot. Ian takes a slapper off his ankle, bounces directly into the net. Play of the week. I was laughing.
And the stare down was great too. That was just great, man. You're like,
I
see you,
scored on you.
you know.
My ankle still hurts today.
Great goal.
Anyone else?
Yeah.
Play of the week?
Yeah, my play of the week was the Paul Paradine coming in.
Oh.
Brian D'Angelo comes out to try to block the shot, comes skidding by, like just sitting down, slides like basically into his own net. Paul brings it around and backhands it in off the crossbar.
It was dirty.
You guys have it?
I had the Tim Anderson diving goal that I talked about earlier. You know, in the net. I mean, that was an awesome goal. He was pumped once he had that goal, so that was cool.
So my play was, I think it was the third period. I forget how it got to them, but basically Ken's facing the play, and the puck squirts off to his right side, and he just like kind of turns and puts his stick out. Brandon shot it, but shoots it, and it probably helped that it was on the ground. But Ken gets his stick on it, and it just bounces away, and it was just an awesome
That was a
play.
save. That was a
Awesome
save.
play.
All right. I got a weekly award that I want to hand out. It's the Bayer We Put the Ass in Aspirin Award to Kurt and Jeff Burge during warm-ups when Kurt's sitting on the bench. I'm looking right at Kurt
The
talking
play of
to
the
him.
week is warm-ups?
Yeah, I'm talking to Kurt. I'm looking right at him. All of a sudden, Jeff Burge fires a shot that totally misses the net, hits Kurt right in the head.
Oh, man.
And I felt bad for a second. Then when I saw that he was okay, I just started laughing. I couldn't help
Minutes
myself.
before we start.
Oh, that's how he gets pumped up.
Then my other player of the week was in my game when right before Pete dropped the puck for the faceoff. It was I think me, Steve, and Mike Bryan against Matt, Enright, and Shane. Shane was standing on the opposite wing, and I made a comment about his beard before the puck dropped. Then the puck dropped. I think it went to Matt. I ended up beating Matt for it, and somehow we ended up scoring. But that moment, before the puck dropped, was my triple X rated play of the game. But in all seriousness,
He talks about putting his pee in Shane's beard.
I went to drop the puck and he's like, I'm going to put my pee in your beard. And I was like, I had to take a second.
we got a goal from that.
The best part about Conco on the floor is probably going to be the trash.
Oh my god.
But in all
Lost
seriousness, my play of the game was in Alex's game.
Oh
No, this is my serious play of the
Oh
game.
my god.
Was when Alex
It's going to be
he
2
made a
hours long.
save where
That's
the
why
puck
you
was
don't get
sitting
invited.
right there, and somebody from the other team was going to hit it in, and he just kicked his leg out and knocked it right away.
No, he had a great kick save there.
Yeah, it was pretty.
Hey, Alan?
Okay.
I'm
I'm
not
going
taking
to jump
the
in there before he has another play of the week. The other awards, I've got the 1983 Trading Places movie starring Eddie Murphy and Dan Aykroyd award going to Conco and Post. Not for what you might think, though. Not because Post played net, but because after Conco scored his second goal, he let out the most primal scream. Did you guys see that? He scored the goal. He goes,
Yeah.
yeah! He's like, started pumping his fist. And like,
Best pose in person?
Yeah, channel my
so I mean, if Post is going to be Conco, Conco's got to be Post. And he did a good job of that.
Amen.
Yeah, but you don't want folks to be Conco in that.
Good point. The Hambone to Hambone Award, sponsored by Highland Hospital Physical Therapy, goes to Brian D'Angelo, playing on the bum hamstring. The Guilty as Charged Award goes to J.J. Wagner. He trips, who was it? Was it Paul?
That was
No.
Brad.
Brad.
Yeah.
He trips Brad. Chatterton's up around the deck with me, and he's like, that wasn't a trip. And I was like, yeah, it was. And JJ just immediately walks to the bench. Like, I don't
He
even
knew
know.
it.
He waited for the call. He didn't even wait for the call. He just walked immediately to the other bench, like, oh yeah, that was a trip.
Yeah.
And for a guy who argues as much as JJ, that was pretty nice. The Being a Good Sport Award, sponsored by Pete Lundstedt, goes to Kevin Baldwin. He's up around the track, joking around, jovial after the loss, and for a guy that we've given a lot of crap to during the season about like he's never gone on these losing streaks before, he actually takes it pretty well, and I thought he was was a really good sport.
After the game.
After
Yeah,
the game.
for sure.
Yeah, after the game. Well, that's why it's sponsored by you, Pete.
Yep.
And then the next person to say shenanigans is going to get Pistol Whipped Award, sponsored by Sherwood Hockey Sticks. Goes to Jesse Trio for when his stick goes flying up in the air again. He walked up behind Zach, looking like he was gonna punch Zach in the back of the head, and the last second decided not to, or whatever it was, and just picks up his stick and goes back at it. But it was one of those things where it's like, one more time, man, one more time, and someone's gonna get pistol whipped, and that was Jesse.
Nice.
All right, well, we're way over time, which I didn't think it was gonna happen.
Yeah.
With no stats. So here is the question of the week. This one, I don't remember who was it. Baldwin?
Yeah,
They do
Baldwin,
for this?
yep.
Yeah.
Because you said you wanted to destroy something beautiful.
Yes, that's right. I wanted to destroy something
Specifically
beautiful
like
after that
Brian.
game. After my, sorry, Mike. Long story. I'll tell you later. So from the movie Fight Club, one of the have you guys all seen the movie?
Sure.
One of the parts of the movie, the assignment was to find a guy and fight him, make him get into a fight with you, but then lose. You had to lose the fight. So in this league, who do you think, if I gave you the assignment, who would you try to pick a fight with, but then lose?
I think I'm gonna go with the obvious choice here, guys. He's definitely, obviously, after he's a very aggressive guy, I gotta go with Jesse. Gotta go with Jesse after this week. Jesse was, because he'll kick my ass. I mean, pretty much everyone in this league will. But I'm hoping that maybe he'll pretend to punch me sometimes, but also that he can't good. So, yeah, I'm picking Jesse.
I would pay to have Joe do it.
Is that a hot combo? Have we figured it out now?
We finally know what a hot
When you
combo
pay
is.
Joe to
Watching
fight.
that hair in motion, taking punch after punch, seeing stars.
Oh, jeez. I think we just turned into a fetish.
Who's next? Kevin, what are your thoughts?
I'm not really on weight.
Go ahead.
Alright. So I'm gonna pull a Peter and I'm gonna say Ian Smith.
Woo!
Because he's a nurse, so afterwards he could stitch me back up. and
What a
be okay.
good answer.
That's good.
I'm gonna go John Chatterton.
Brotherly love.
Because you can face wash him and.
It would take a lot for me to get him to fight me. And I've tried. There's been times where I've pushed it to there, but I don't know. I think it would take the process of getting him to that point where he wants to fight me would be the best for me. I'd have so much fun doing it.
The point leading up to it would be totally
Yeah.
worth it.
I think I'm kind of thinking Chris Lally. I mean, I'd love to see what he's like as like a fighter. He's such a nice guy.
He probably trains like jujitsu.
Right. Yeah. He'd probably kick my ass or something. Right. Yeah. Exactly.
So maybe he'll miss you.
Right.
I guess I gotta go Mike Sturgis, and I think the reason is, I think it's relatively easy to get most people to fight you. Like, you can instigate, but the hard part is losing. And I think with one punch, Sturgis would knock you the fuck out.
You might want to fight me this week.
There you go, I'll take it for you.
So, what about that girl at the top of the gym?
Yeah, well, that's right.
Yeah.
Oh man,
She's a
she
super
would kill everyone.
Yeah.
Oh my god, I was talking to I was talking to Gaffey. Gaffey was like, she's been punching that bag for the last hour. Like, oh my god.
Brianna Stark.
Gonna annihilate him.
So that was the playoff recap edition. You'll have to stay tuned for the playoff round 2 preview edition. Is it Wednesday yet?
A quick shameless plug. Clear schedules, June 10th. We have an event at Lakeshore Hockey Arena.
Sponsored by Lakeshore Hockey Arena.
Sponsored by Just Shut Up and Come. $30.
That's what she Oh my god.
Oh, there's all that.
$30. Open bar, food. We have the ice and the sport court. It'll be a great time. Starts at 7. Last time we went till midnight. Everybody that was there had a blast. So
Yeah,
if you
definitely.
can make it, come up.
Well played.
All right, so just shut up and come.
Shut up and come.
Something on the party.